Hi, Janine. Welcome to the show. It's so wonderful to have you here.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Real pleasure. I'd like to begin immediately with what you focus on, which, as you mentioned in your profile, is sizzling offers, helping service-based business owners to create and put together a sizzling offer. Why is it that you decided to focus on this in your marketing? Because I know you cover a lot of things in marketing. Why did you decide to focus specifically on this?
Well, it's a classic story, really. When I look back to when I was setting up my business, this is what I wanted help with. It took me a long while to figure it out. I did the classic, corporate career, came out because of work-life balance desires, and so thought, set up a business. Loads of people need help marketing. I can do anything. I can help with anything. Very, very general, very, very wishy-washy. Started getting live on, getting active on social media, got my website, got my slick brand, but didn't actually know what I was offering. I didn't have any packages of services. It was all like, oh, please work with me. I'm nice, I'm hardworking, I know I'm an expert, I know what I'm talking about, but there was nothing specific that people could hook onto, sort of latch onto and understand, oh, that's what she does. It was much too broad and wishy-washy. So now that is what I have realized a lot of people struggle with. Not everyone, but I have to say, when I do see some really nice offers, some packaged up services, and I speak to that person, I said, oh, I really like your packages. How did you come up with that? Because you're not you're not a marketer, you're not a trained marketer. 9 times out of 10, in fact, I'm telling a lie, 10 times out of 10, they've had help. They've had help. It's really hard. It's really hard to do it on your own.
Yes, for sure. And where do you feel that the business owners struggle most? So you say in your case, at the time you were very generalist, you had a sort of broad overview, and so you needed really to narrow it down. Is this the main struggle you see? What sort of comes up as the main struggles?
Yeah, I mean, that's a common one, isn't it? It's the resistance to being specific. And that's why I like offers, because you don't have to say, I'm only doing this for this type of people. You don't have to do that. Some people call that niching. I don't like the word niching because I don't think anybody knows exactly what it means. There's no dictionary definition. But what people conceive of niching is, I must cut out the majority of my opportunities. I mean, that's horrible. Why would you do that to yourself?
Yes.
You can define your audience, you can define the people you like to work with and that kind of thing. But then when you have an offer, that's your opportunity to get really specific and test it out. It might be that one offer floats your boat and you want to do only that offer forever. That's fine. And that is real niching. That is really, really specific. But you don't have to. You could have 10 different offers, just don't sell them all at once.
So you focus on selling one offer at the time.
Yeah. That's what I recommend. Yeah,
it also makes sense in terms of channeling our focus and our thoughts and our creativity in one direction, and also regarding the messaging on social media. So I suppose you link also the social media marketing with the offers.
Yes, because again, a lot of people, I can see people struggling with, what on earth shall I create content about? What on earth shall I post on social media today? And actually, if you're clear about your offers, you're clear about who you're helping with what, that should be the source of your inspiration, really, for the content you're creating and what to write on social media. Mix in a bit of personal stuff, mix in a bit of personality and values and opinion, and you've got a plan.
Yes, it's overcomplicated. I think people think about it too much and try to make it too technical. I know one of the mistakes I used to make a lot on social media was writing my posts as if I was writing articles. So they'd be very technical and dense and not very human. I used to say we instead of saying you. And it took me a while to switch from the sort of technical approach of this is how it works to a more familiar, nice, approachable way of writing posts.
Yeah, that took me a while as well. You can take the girl out of corporate, you can't take the corporate out of the girl. I still drift into corp speak sometimes. It's like, no. Stop using jargon.
Yes, I think that's quite common. And so when we look at marketing in general, What do you feel are some of the biggest mindset hurdles? Because I know you've done a lot of mindset work yourself. What do you feel are some of the biggest mindset hurdles, specifically looking into marketing?
Pricing has to come up there, doesn't it? Right at the top. What shall I charge? How can I possibly charge that much? I can't possibly charge that. That's more than my dad earns. That's more than my tutor earns. That's more than my coach earns. You know, it's, or charges. It should all be based on the value. But again, doing that work on your own is challenging. It's really tricky. And, you know, you do see these messages about, oh, just double it or stick a 0 on it. You know, whatever you're charging, you're not charging enough. You don't know. And it's so emotional, especially when you're the face of your business. Like most of my clients are personal brands, and it's as if they're putting a price on their head. You know, how can I say that I'm worth this much? And that it, again, my answer to everything is offers. When you have an offer, it takes it away from you a little bit. When you're charging by the hour or by the day or by the unit, that's quite personal. It's like, this is how much I'm worth. Oh my goodness, I'm telling people I'm worth this much. But when it's an offer, it's like, here's an offer. Do you have this problem? Does this look good? If not, you can say no. And if you don't think it's worth it, that's up to you. I've worked through the value. I've put a price on it. If you don't think it's worth it, don't buy it. It's like, you know, expensive handbag. I'm not going to buy an expensive handbag, but other people will.
Yes, I think what you mean. It makes you detach a bit from, compared to if you're charging by the hour, or if you're saying this is just you having an offer. It's like it almost turns the service into a product somehow. So I always used to think it's easier to sell products than it is to sell services, because services, you're saying it's you.
Yes, yeah, I bet product-based businesses will disagree with that, but that's how it
probably
that's how it feels, isn't it? That, you know, you've got a product, you want it or you don't want it, you know, just take it or leave it. Whereas the service, it's like, oh no, it's a bundle of me that I need to sell. And harking back to my degree, I remember learning about marketing as part of my business degree, and it was interesting that the product-based businesses and the products that you put out there, if you're a product-based business, you can augment that product with intangible stuff, with services, and then the services you have to try and make them more tangible. So it's funny how they both sort of, there's a medium that they need to gravitate towards. It's sort of this natural, I need to make an intangible service more tangible to make it sort of mean something to people.
I never thought of it that way. So making the intangible tangible in terms of services, yes, but making the tangible intangible, i.e. adding emotions, i.e. adding something else
or
to
after
it.
sales service, that's a classic after sales service to products. Yeah,
that's a good point. That's another one. Nice. So how do you help your clients overcome some of these mindset hurdles? So if we're looking at the finance, how do you help them overcome maybe this resistance or reluctance in terms of how they're pricing their offers?
First of all, I if I'm working with somebody longer term, sometimes I have clients that specifically come to me with pricing, and I do love that. But almost always we start with the value. We start with what's the emotional reason? What's the transformation you're helping people with? Where are they now? Where are they going to get to? Really feel that it's as much as calling to the right people and explaining the value to the right clients, as it is proving to the business owner, my client, that they're worth a lot, you know, that what they're offering is really valuable. And then we go through the rational sort of, okay, let's really have a brainstorm and get everything down. What is every single step that you go through? What is every little thing that you add value with? The more practical stuff, methodologies, processes. Are there any little spreadsheets or tools that you've developed? Let's get it all down. And by the time they've done all that, it really they can feel the value then. And they're like, oh, it's not just 2 hours. Like a classic would be a coaching relationship where you're only talking to the client twice a month. Goodness, I can't charge that for 2 hours a month. It's like, that's not what you're charging for. They are here. You're going to help them get there. That is very valuable. Put an appropriate price on it. And obviously in the process, make sure that it means that you're going to have a profitable business at the end of it.
Yes, absolutely. There's so much more than just the hours. And that's a classic, I think, looking at the hours. I was talking with a friend of mine recently exactly on this. She was doing a workshop for a couple of days in Paris, asking me how much to charge. And I told her to charge more, but also because she wasn't taking into account the amount of preparation she'd do beforehand, her actually going because it was an offline event. There's just so much more that goes on. And people that aren't used to putting together offers and do one-offs, they're not used to coming up with the pricing, and it can be very difficult. How do you help them? So you help them overcome by seeing the whole journey, but then in terms of the exact amount, how do you help them put it together?
I've worked with enough people now and to have a guideline, so some suggestions. I can give them guidelines, especially for people targeting corporates. I've got, I used to work in corporates, and I've had quite a few people targeting or selling to corporates now. So I can say, look, we're in this ballpark, which helps, but often it comes down to working out how much my client wants to earn. How much do you want to earn? How many hours do you want to work? Okay, there's a little bit of simple maths going on there. If you only want to work 2 days a week and the rest of the time you want to create your podcast and go on walks or whatever, then you've got to charge a certain amount. There's supply and demand.
Yes, I think that's smart. That's the way I did it with my mentor and coach. She used to often look at how many clients you want to take on, then how many hours would that be, then how much, and sort of do the math that way backwards. Interesting. And what other sort of mindset hurdles you come across? Because I think pricing is definitely one of the core ones, but I'm interested in the other sort of resistance that come up. One of them that we explored a bit earlier was in terms of people having to narrow down their choices. That obviously comes up. But aside from those two, which are the ones that come up in my mind the most, which would be pricing and narrowing down. Aside from those two, what other type of mindset struggles come up?
So I think the enemy of most of us, including me, is assumptions. You just assume other people think like you, and you assume other people have seen every single post that you've written because you've crafted every blog. Oh my goodness, how could I possibly, I can't post again about this thing that I'm selling because I just did it last Tuesday, and everybody's going to think that I should be quiet and go away, and they're bored of me. I mean, nobody is absorbing every single word. Even the super fans won't be reading every single word, or, maybe call the police if they are, because that's very extreme. This just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. People are very self-absorbed, and they're looking for what's in it for me. And if they see something from you they're not interested in, they'll scroll past. And if you post about it again, they'll scroll past again. However, somebody who is interested, they will not necessarily be right there when your post is being served up, but they might be tomorrow, or they might read your email instead.
Yes, that's a great point. So not assuming that people are following our every move, our every bit to actually see everything that we're posting and actually dare to post it again. This is also a struggle, I think, for people to sell actively through posting. I remember the first time I did this, and it was putting out a post saying, working with X amount of people. And I think there's also a reluctance there. People feel you always should be giving value, and they struggle to sometimes sell in their post or in their newsletter once, in a blue moon, or once a month, or every 2 weeks.
Yeah. I felt that as well. You're writing a real overt sales message, but again, people will just skim past it. There's not many small business owners that are making good money without doing any sales, any proactive sales whatsoever. There's very few. I don't know any off the top of my head in my sort of friendship network, to be honest with you, that the people who are doing the best on social media are selling social media services. That's they're teaching people how to use Instagram on Instagram, or they're teaching people how to use LinkedIn on LinkedIn, and maybe they can get away with not being overtly salesy, because if you're on LinkedIn, you're going to want to know how to use LinkedIn, aren't you? So, but even then, I think packaged up services and relevant offers that's calling to the right people is a good idea.
Yes, always a good idea, especially from time to time if it's lost in the midst of all the content you're providing anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And what are some of the biggest marketing mistakes you made? Because I noticed in your profile you mentioned that you made all the marketing mistakes that are possible. So what would be sort of, the top 2 or 3 that come to your mind?
Oh my goodness, this could go all day, go on all day. I think marketers are the worst. It's the curse of knowledge. I spent quite a long while trying to push what I knew people needed on them. You're not doing this right. Hello, people, you're not doing this right. Listen, you're doing this, it's wrong. It's not an engaging communication strategy. It's, all I got was loads of marketers agreeing with me. Yes, people don't get it. People don't get it. Only the marketers get it. So we're all like patting each other on the back. Yes, this is how marketing should be. So that took me a while to stop doing. I still slip into it sometimes. I'm like, this is what they need. But it's never about what they need. It's about what they want. Connect with what they want. Help them on that path. That's the way to approach it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there was quite a bit of that. I mean, can I say I regret that mistake? Probably not. I was going to say there were other, you've got to make mistakes, haven't you? I mean, to learn. I recently did a series of LinkedIn Lives. Thought that'd be brilliant. Yay, A to Z. I'm going to do an A to Z. No. It was good in some ways. It got me into the habit, and I explored my topic from all different angles because I had to find 26 posts about it. However, the A to Z concept isn't, again, it's not talking about what people want. So it's not an easy thing to engage with from the audience's perspective. But also, I was trying to use it as sort of as a visibility raiser because I've been quite quiet over the last couple of years for some reason, homeschooling and COVID and stress and what have you. So I thought this was going to be a good visibility raiser and people would see me every day. But the reach on LinkedIn Live to use it as little videos every single day was abominable. It was awful, really, really low. So by the end, I switched to video. I should have, if I did it again in that format, I would do the whole thing as video.
And not as lives.
There you go. Is that enough? I mean, I could go on.
It's always interesting because I feel that we learn both from failures and successes. So people that go on all the time we learn from failure. Yes, that's true. But we also learn from success. So when you look at a post that did do well, or a video that did work, or an offer that was good, you can learn and reproduce it. So we definitely learn from both. But it's always interesting to hear other people's struggles and failures and mistakes, because we can learn from them too, and then we don't have to make them right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like learning from other people's mistakes as well. But I think that the thing about learning from successes that maybe trips us up is you feel so good, you just sort of skim on, don't you? You don't necessarily stop. You don't have that prompt to stop and think, okay, that went well. Why did it go well? But whereas a failure, I think you gotta, you're in a slump a little bit. So maybe you have to analyze and learn, and that's how you get out of the slump. But when you're on a high, it's easy just to skim on and think it's just because of your brilliance, and people could just, see your genius.
I think, in failures, there's probably more reflection in those moments, or we've learned to reflect more to see how we can avoid it in the future. In my case, I know that looking back at successes, it's not often on the moment that I reflect, but it's maybe afterwards. So if I look back the last 6 months, what did go well, on social media, with my clients or workshop, or even sometimes I don't know if you do this, Janine, I'd be curious to know. I look at a day or a week where I felt particularly happy, really loads of energy. And I start to write down everything I did to see, is it these clients? Is it these projects? Did I go out more? Did I exercise more? Did I see a lot more people? Which is often the case. Those are my happiest weeks. And I put it all together and I have a sort of data of what makes me happy. Do you do this?
No, but I want to. It was interesting. I remember a session with my coach a couple of years ago, and I said, I was getting myself tied up with, being productive and having a good day, and what was a good day and what was a bad day. And then she said, describe a good day. And I described taking my kids to a tourist spot in London, and it just was brilliant. It was just the best day, and I knew it was going to be a good day because I planned it like this, and it was on this specific day, and that was a good idea, and I prepared. And she let me come to my own conclusion. But basically, it was a good day because I was convinced it was going to be a good day, and I planned it.
Nice.
It's like, oh.
That's nice. That's easy.
I was convinced it was, if you could convince it's going to be a bad day, it probably will be a bad day.
I do this as an incantation in my journal in the morning. One of the guests I interviewed on the podcast, I think it was James, he mentioned that he has this whole sort of ritual where he does this whole affirmation. And in his affirmation, he said, yeah, today is going to be a wonderful day. And when I journal in the morning, when I do my morning pages, I finish in capital and I write, today is a great day. And I think it does help, because it's before I've even gotten up. I journal in bed and then I get up and meditate. But before I've even gotten up, I've decided it's going to be a good day. It helps, I think. And I'll think about what you said. To make it a good day, plan it and decide it's going to be a good day. Done. That's easy.
You know what makes a good day for you. So that's really helpful, isn't it? Just stopping and learning to, I think as I get older, it's sort of like, okay, you need to get to know yourself, don't you? And what makes you tick and what makes you happy, and how do you make a change in your life if you don't know those things?
Yes, that's where the self-awareness comes in. And it's nice. That's why it's nice to reflect both on the failures and the successes, because when we just look at the failures, yes, we learn, how to do your A to Z again or not, or differently. But if we only reflect on them, then yes, we're just getting lessons learned, really. Whereas if we look at the successes too, I don't know, I think it's not. I think they're both sort of important in different ways.
Oh, definitely.
Nice. Okay, and what about the hedgehogs? I noticed that you're a hedgehog lover. You mentioned this in your profile. What's with the hedgehogs?
I'm a bit of an animal lover, yeah. There's this thing in the UK, you can become a hedgehog champion. And I actually signed up for my kids because I thought, there's something you could do. But actually, you've got to sign up with your email address, and they're only little, so they don't have email addresses. So I was like, I have become a hedgehog champion. And I've got into it. I get emails about it, and all it means is, as you may know, hedgehogs are endangered in this country, and yet they're sort of an iconic British creature, and they're dying out. So I hassle people if I hear that they're using slug pellets, and I encourage people to have little hedgehog highways in their back garden to let the hedgehogs go through. And in my old house, we used to have a family of hedgehogs. Brilliant. They used to come and eat all the slugs and snails, and no need for pellets whatsoever. And in the winter, we used to put out food for them. I don't know whether the hedgehogs ate it or the cats, but actually I do know the hedgehogs ate it because I used to see them sometimes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love hedgehogs too, but I'm in Sweden. There aren't many around here. I haven't seen any anyway. Maybe there are some, but I haven't seen any.
I don't. Yeah, I have heard that they're a pest in Australia, which doesn't make sense to me unless they were just lying and winding me up.
That's possible. That's possible.
I wouldn't know. I mean, I could Google it, I suppose, couldn't I? I'm just being lazy. Not checking the sources.
Nice. Well, we're coming close to the end of today's show and today's episode. What's the last thing you'd like to say maybe to the listeners in terms of giving them advice and input on how they can put together their office, to come back to our main topic?
Oh, thank you. Yes. My best advice is just give it a go. Give it a go. If you're currently charging by the hour, think about why people work with you. What are the triggers? There's a package in there. There's a package of service offers that you could put together for people based on what they are needing help with. And don't use slug pellets.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Janine. This has gone by really fast, and it's been so great to talk to you and finally meet you after following your content on social media for a while. And thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you very much.